Well, welcome everybody, and thanks for joining us today. And we're going to go ahead and kick this off and get going. So we're going to be talking about unconventional ways to drive traffic to your Amazon listings. And Norm, not to put you on the spotlight, but since you and I just talked about this, like a week or two ago, let's maybe talk a little bit about, and I'll make an easy softball one for you. Let's talk about influencers. You and I just got done doing a whole podcast on that. But maybe talk a little bit about using influencers to drive traffic and what you and I talked about in the podcast like a week or so ago.
Sure. Now I have to remember what I said.
Got to go watch the podcast.
I got to stop making that stuff up. But yeah, influencers right now, I mean, it's the big buzzword. And, just trying to get involved with influencers, or how do you track them down? Which type of influencer do you use? It's all kind of important. But probably, I mean, one of the things that I guess the first things that we talked about was ease. Can we go and just, go to a paid platform and find influencers very easily? So by going over to Thomason or IntelliFluence or BuzzSumo, you can sign up, pay an amount. BuzzSumo is around $99 a month. Thomason, I think it's $49.99. And they have a variety of influencers. And what you can do is you can go out and just filter them by niche, by keyword, and then you have to check them out. Issue is when you're going onto a paid platform, you don't know who the influencer is. You don't know if they're just driving traffic to their site for bots. You don't know, like, just bot traffic. They're very easy to spot, by the way. So if you go to an influencer site and they've got 100,000 followers, and they've got very little engagement, or if you see one-letter words or two words, or just a whole bunch of emojis, that's probably a fake account. But anyways, just check it out. They're pretty easy to get a dialogue going. These people are there because they want to become an influencer. And depending on how many followers or how good their engagement is going to probably drive the price. There's a lot of micro influencers, that's under 100,000 people, that are probably going to allow you to get their service for anywhere from free to around $50. They might push up to $100, and you can get them to do anything. And one of the things I really like on the Thomason platform is you have this one called social distribution content. You provide the post, you provide the content and the display, the caption, and then you recruit people basically to put it out on their network. So you're spinning the message any way you want. That's probably the easiest way. The other way would be to go out and find your influencers. And finding an influencer, still pretty easy. You can go to Haro, H-A-R-O, help a reporter out, to find journalists that could help promote your product. You could go to Cision. That's a lot more expensive. We have that over at PR Reach, and that's typically around, I think it's $5,000 or $10,000 a year. Guys, are you hearing any rattling in the background?
Yes.
Yep. Sorry, Rob, I can't hear you.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. I was telling everybody there's an audio button at the top you can turn off. Of course, I had mine off. But real quick, Norm, before we do have a couple of questions coming in regarding it. People are asking about how you weed out some of the fake influencers. And then also, I'd like you just to quickly cover what kind of things are you using the influencers for? Are you just doing like unboxing or promotion? Just cover that a little bit. Yeah,
so so first of all, just going back very quickly, you can spot fake influencers usually by if they have a ton of followers and they have very little engagement, or if they're just answering like, wow, awesome, beautiful picture, crap like that, or a lot of emojis. That can weed it out very, very quickly. You want to see people that are engaging. Now, something that I should mention, nano influencers, that's influencers from 1 to 10,000 people, are incredible because they have tons of engagement happening all the time. 10,000 to 100,000 are micro influencers. You can usually group those two groups together. Anything over that, when you start talking about the mega or even the celebrity style, there's depending on who you talk to, there's 5 or 6 different levels of influencers. But if you go above the micro influencer, you're probably losing engagement, you're losing trust, and you're paying a lot more. So I love building up I love building influencers from nano and micro. So here's how you use them. First of all, you reach out to them. First of all, first you want to like and comment and just see if they have the same kind of personality as you. And then you could just DM them and just see if they'd be interested in carrying your product. People under 10,000 units are going to go, or 10,000 followers are going to go through the roof if you ask them to that you liked, their network, or you like your blog, or you like their social media platform, and would you like to have one of my products, and just check it out. A lot of the times the nano influencers especially are going to take that as a real ego boost. You might have to pay. Usually if you're getting over that 10,000, you're going to have to pay something. But where can you use them? Oh man, all over the place. So one of the biggest things over the last 10, I don't know, maybe longer, 15 years, social media. All right, who's concentrating on social media? Who's concentrating on building a community around a brand right now? That's Amazon. So if you can go to that influencer and ask them to either provide a image, and that image could be any form of social proof. It could be with them just holding the product. It could be with them highlighting a product. It could be like, let's say it's a knife and you ask a chef to hold it up. That could be something. And then you can get them. I'm going to keep on the chef theme for a second. You might ask the chef to write a recipe, and that recipe can be used in the description. And then what you can do is ask that chef, if they're really into it, if they could actually go on video and prepare that meal for you. So you can add that now to Amazon posts. And people, like, they're putting tons of content on Amazon posts right now, but a lot of it is crap. If you have engaging content, you can get people to click on your image. It's a pattern interrupt. When you're on your mobile phone and you're scrolling down and you see this kind of Facebook or Instagram looking message, you stop and you look. Now, if you can trap the person into looking because it's kind of engaging, the recipe of the month or the recipe of the week or the day, they click on it. Now there's engagement. So that's the one area. Amazon Live is where you can take some of these videos. Imagine this. A lot of people don't want to get onto camera. They're camera shy. Like me, I have a face for radio, and I would rather an influencer go on and do provide the information. So let's go back to that chef. If that chef is somebody really known in the niche, or it's somebody that can just intelligently look like they can put together a meal, that person's on for 15 or 20 minutes live, you're going to get a lot of engagement. You're going to get a lot of followers. Going back to Amazon posts for a second, Amazon posts now, you can drive people from Facebook or from your homepage or like from your website over to your brand feed page and start to get followers. Amazon Live, you've always been able to get followers, but now you can get them on Amazon posts just by driving people back to your brand feed page, which is really cool. The other area that you can work with influencers is throughout your social media. So Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, you can cover it all. You can cover stories. You can cover
I think we're having a little issue
your
with
posts. You can get, there's so much repurposing that.
Yep. Sorry. I think we're having a little video issue with you. That's okay. So just real quick, Norm, I've got like 10 people asking again for the platform where they could see the influencers, or the platform where they could find the influencers, I think it is. They're asking like several different ways. So can you tell them that again? And Stephen Black, be ready. You're up next.
Okay. So in influencer platforms, Tom Oson, TOMOSON, IntelliFluence, kind of like what it sounds like, and BuzzSumo. You can also go to AppSumo, AppSumo, A lot of the times they'll have some form of influencer app on sale there that you can download. One last thing on content.
Yep.
The area that influencers love to do is write content. So you can get guest blog posts and you can share that on your social media.
Perfect. All right. Stephen, we're going to kick this over to you. Obviously, you can go a different direction because I've talked to you a million different ways, but unconventional ways you find that work best for driving traffic to Amazon listings. Norm, I appreciate all the information, by the way.
Sure. Gracious. What direction do you want me to go? And I have, for everybody, I'm going to put a few extra links in the chat bar there, because I have other platforms that you can find influencers on, and it's a searchable database, and you can search by demographics, psychographics, blah, 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 blah. So I'll put a few more links in the chat for everybody.
We'll actually make those available at the end of the summit. So be sure to stay on at the end and we'll post those up. Go ahead.
I'll do that. Okay. So unconventional ways that I drive traffic. Everybody talks about wanting to build a community around their brand. And that's definitely something that I have done a lot of. I have pages right now with about, say, 50,000 followers, and the reach alone just on the page on Facebook, let's say, for January was something like 630,000 impressions just from a 50,000 follower page. And so being able to make content and make offers within that content of a very, very engaged audience, easy way to drive people to Amazon. But the thing that people miss when everybody says, I want to build an audience, I want to build a community, you have to realize you have to go from marketing like we do on the Amazon platform with your ads and PPC and everything else to publishing. And if you really want people to engage, the publishing that you have to do has to be something that answers their problems, questions, roadblocks, or takes them further into a passion pursuit, because that's the things that people are going to want to continually come back for. And if you give them that, you do a few things. Number one, you show them that you share their point of view. You give them value before they purchase. You build trust and authority in the space. And then when you make your offers, you're much more likely to click through. And that's one of the easiest ways that I've found that's unconventional to continually drive traffic to Amazon. So for me, as example, if I'm going to launch something, I'm going to set up and build an audience first, and then use those people to really kick things off in a huge, huge way, because I can build pre-launch hype within that audience and say, hey, this is when launch day is going to be exclusive to this group or this page or whatever only, and absolutely blast it out of the gate without having to do much else. So that's one of the unconventional ways I would do it. Another way that I go about things is I always parallel my Amazon listings with a Shopify store and run heavy Google shopping ads to the Shopify store, while I'm also running conversion rate optimization on the page. And then anybody that abandons cart, which is usually about 30% of the people, I'll retarget them with Facebook ads and send those guys to Amazon. And my conversion rates from that traffic, because it's a high intent audience, is always much, much higher. It's an easy way to do things and be able to test and keep the data right out of the gate. And over 60% of Google's ad revenue is Google shopping ads. So if you think about it, if somebody comes in and they search in Google, your Google shopping ad is going to show up based on their intent, the exact same way that your product listings do on Amazon. So it's an easy win there. And you don't pay if they don't click. You can get 1 million impressions, but if nobody clicks on your ad, you don't pay for it. Just like Amazon. But then when I get them to Shopify, everybody that has that high intent, that abandoned cart, run them a Facebook ad. And if my products on Shopify are a couple of dollars higher, it's easy to give a perceived deal or break or discount or whatever you want without really cutting into your profit margin too much. And you have a much higher conversion rate that way. And when you're driving your outside traffic that way and you have your higher conversion rates on the listing itself, I've always noticed a bump that way. So pretty straightforward there.
This content is brought to you by AccrueMe, the business-friendly funding solution for Amazon sellers. If you are a profitable Amazon seller looking for capital to grow your profits, click the link around this video or visit AccrueMe.com for a no-risk funding estimate in less than 3 minutes.
That's great info. Let's kick it over to Brandon real quick, because just in case we lose him here. So Brandon, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. This webinar platform is a real hog for bandwidth.
All right, so we're just looking for unconventional ways to drive traffic to Amazon listings. What's some of the ways you've used? And hopefully we'll keep you on long enough to get the answer.
Yeah, what's amazing is that no matter what you're doing off of Amazon, it has an impact on Amazon. The attribution traffic that you get to Amazon for your branded search results are powerful.
Yep, I think we're having issues with Brandon's audio here. Oh, all right. Yeah, Brandon's still there. So go ahead, Brandon, if you can. If not, we'll try to get you back on. I think we're losing him. Yeah. So let's go ahead and kick it over to Liran. Could you go ahead and pick up and run with it here?
Yeah, I mean, I think to Brandon's point on what Brandon was trying to get at is that everything that you do off of Amazon in terms of driving traffic to Shopify or anywhere else is also going to lead to people going to Amazon to search for your brand, to search for the product. We've seen, great success. I was able to help a brand that launched on Amazon after already building sort of a big audience off Amazon, and they had 10,000 branded searches a month on there, at least according to Helium, around their brand name plus keywords before they even joined the platform. And actually, what was happening is they were losing sales by not being on there because some kind of I would say slick competitors actually created packaging and product very similar to theirs in order to sort of steal their traffic. They're now going after them in terms of trademark stuff, etc. But as soon as they launched on Amazon, because of that audience they built off, the first month they did $100,000 in sales on one product, but they'd built up a big following off Amazon. Before that, they had 160,000 plus followers on Instagram. They built up, big Shopify business. It was already a 7-figure Shopify business. And so they were able to leverage that. So I think to Brandon's point, when you run ads, on Facebook or Instagram or social media to Shopify, you're going to have spillover of people that come to Amazon because they want to look at your reviews. They want to see if it's available with Prime shipping. And you want to capitalize on that. And the way to sort of first capitalize on that is just being very well represented on Amazon with a great listing, with making sure you're playing both offense and defense in terms of protecting your brand, right? So having that top sponsored brand spot for your brand name, having the top sponsored product spot, having the video spot, like really protecting your brand name because other people are going to go after it. As far as sort of unconventional ways to, to drive traffic is, I would say the first thing I would say is that before I would go to unconventional ways, I would make sure I'm leveraging conventional ways of driving traffic to your Amazon listings. I wouldn't go crazy on spending tons of money on influencer marketing if I'm not really well optimized on my listings, if I'm not really driving internal Amazon PPC traffic to my listings, if I'm not driving traffic to my storefront in Amazon, because that's going to be your highest conversions are going to be from people just searching keywords, being on other people's listings, clicking on your products, and taking advantage of that. After that, I would say once you're doing that already, I would look to work with people like Norm that maybe can help you do the influencer marketing that could drive outside traffic in. We're starting to do Google ads with Amazon attribution to Amazon listings. Things like DSP, where some of the innovative things we're starting to do is put a pixel on somebody's Shopify site. And that pixel through Amazon DSP allows us to do a number of things. One, we can create lookalike audiences from people who visited their website and target those lookalike audiences from Amazon DSP audiences with ads on and off Amazon with DSP. We can also target people to kind of like what Steven spoke about. We could target people who didn't check out on the checkout page for those Shopify stores and put DSP ads to bring them back to Amazon. But some of that stuff is just not going to convert and give you as good a ROAS as just, search term targeting. So I would maximize all that stuff before, unconventional methods.
Some good information there. I am trying to answer you guys' questions when I can. Keep them coming. It looks like we got Brandon back on. Brandon, let's give it a shot here. So go for it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm trying. Like, the Wi-Fi was working perfectly fine with Zoom for an entire hour before this call, so this webinar is really clunky. The system. I apologize, but so hopefully you guys can hear me. I think Liran came in and really reinforced the point, which is that people just trust Amazon. So no matter what marketing you're doing off of Amazon, people are going to go look for you on Amazon, and you're going to see a bump in traffic and in conversion and sales. So you should have your own funnels. You should try to make them as profitable as possible. But if you're even just running break-even ads and break-even traffic off of Amazon, you can pretty much count on the fact that you're going to have a bump on Amazon, which to us is more important, because if you can maximize your rank on Amazon and get that organic traffic and organic sales, then it's going to impact your bottom line positively anyway.
There we go. Definitely. So yeah, we have some questions coming in. Just kind of throw it out to the group. Anybody's welcome to grab it. What suggestions do you have to grow your follower base? And I think that might have been targeted towards Norm there a little bit. But I mean, anybody else? Norm, why don't you go ahead and grab that one?
There, I think I'm unmuted now.
There you go.
Okay, so there's lots of different ways to build a follower base, and it depends if you're looking for, just a follower on social media, or if you actually want to build a customer list as well. So just a quick note, if you can, and I can give you some examples of this, but if you can have people come on to your e-commerce page, Shopify, whatever it is, and you can get them to leave your email. That's the trick, get them to leave your email. Well, you're starting to build this list. Well, if you can start to build a list, and if you can start to e-market or create just a simple e-market campaign, that's an easy way to get people to start to follow you. The other I'm talking uber easy way to build a list right now, all of us, I think, are on Clubhouse. If you put your brand on Clubhouse, XYZ brand, and you start talking about cooking, and you have a knife brand or a cooking utensil brand, and you become that expert in that niche, we're early adopters. Everybody's there right now. I don't know where this is going to go, but every time I talk on Clubhouse, I can see that I get a few more Instagram followers. And I didn't know why. It just, why am I getting, 5, 10, 50 Instagram followers? And it's because of Clubhouse. So that's one no-brainer way to do it. The other way that's a little bit tougher is going into Facebook or going into Instagram, or trying to create your audience and drive traffic to wherever you want to drive it to get those links. So it could be content driven. So here's another angle. Let's say you're on Google My Business, or if you're doing, you're putting a blog onto your Shopify store, you want to make sure it has incredible content. If it has incredible content, Google's going to love you, and you could start building followers because people want your content. Those are a few, and I'm sure everybody else has a bunch.
Norm, I wanted to jump on a few things you said. I think they're very relevant. Number one, when you think about building a following, when you think about influencers, like people use this term like influencers and micro and nano, like at the end of the day, they're people, right? And I think you need to think about them as people, like what's in it for them? How do you build relationships? I think like Norm said, you want to start like commenting and, building relationships. And I think you want to, part of the way you could build a following is really by collaborating with other people who also have a following, and together, like a lot of times in those scenarios, 1 + 1 = 3. So, collaborating, going live with somebody else on Instagram that also has a following together, collaborating with people on Clubhouse. I was thinking of putting together a room, for example, called, Brands and Influencers Unite, right? Or looking for, fitness influencers, right? You can go on Clubhouse, create a room like that to attract people. Maybe you're in the fitness space, to attract people in that space that are going to join the page. And yeah, it's such early stage right now that you can really easily like attract people there to connect with them and build those.
I love that strategy, Liran, because I've noticed that it's very heavily weighted towards these social media influencers on there.
Yep.
And a lot of people are relying 100% of their income on their brand as them for themselves, and they're always looking for opportunities to make more money because it's their only income revenue.
Yep.
So
And
you could take advantage of that.
absolutely, and you'd be surprised. I've had people message me on Instagram too. Same thing, Norm. Like I've seen my Instagram following increase also without doing any different strategy on Instagram from Clubhouse. But I've also had people message me because I've hosted like Amazon related rooms. I had this woman who has 70,000 followers on Instagram and does Amazon Live as an influencer, and the amount of money she wanted for taking up her entire 45-minute session of showing like 20 different products that I could feature for our clients, my own products, etc., was ridiculously low for what you can get to collaborate. Way underpriced, but she doesn't really know that, right? But way underpriced. And I think really a lot of this is like actually just manually reaching out to people, DMing people, building relationships, starting out with just not like, hey, can you promote my product? But like Norm said, hey, can I send you my product? And then leveraging the people that already have a following to help build up your following, adding value to them. And because, I imagine a lot of these influencers are being messaged with, and probably like all of us here that have a following, you get messaged with a lot of asks, and not with a lot of people offering something, right? And, you're going to pay more attention to somebody that's messaging you to, offer something than ask for something. So I think it's a lot about relationships in terms of how to build a following and how to leverage it. And I also think that if you're willing to turn your face into the personal face of the brand, and you're, or hire somebody to do that, I think it's a lot more powerful than somebody buying from like an Apple Instagram page versus, the face of the company who people find kind of more relatable and can follow. You guys can follow. There's a great brand I happen to buy some supplements from. You can follow on Instagram this woman, Organic Olivia. She created a podcast. She has like, I don't know, I know at least a few 100,000 followers, and she built this entire supplement brand. She's like an herbalist student, built this entire supplement brand on her personal brand off an Instagram following, and I'm sure it's a 7-figure plus business. And I'm sure her following is much stronger with the brand because she's the face of it, as opposed to just posting sort of generic stock photos on Instagram. That stuff doesn't work. So I think you need to really make it personal. To Norm's point, also in terms of identifying, who's a real account, who's not, in terms of who you want to pay to promote your product, is I think you really want to see if an influencer, first of all, how much are they promoting? Is all their feed like promoting different products every day? I think that gets kind of old and needs to be selective. And also, what are the comments that get posted when they are putting out a product? Is it like, awesome, great, love it? Or is it like, hey, where can I buy this product? Right? And are they answering those DMs and those kind of questions? Then it's a real like influencer, right? Like an influencer is somebody who is leading somebody else to make a decision, right? Not just posting like a model shot and has like a lot of people saying, awesome, you look amazing, but like saying, how can I, getting real engagement, people saying, how can I buy this product? Where did you buy it? And then actually seeing them responding to those comments are the types of people that I would want to work with.
So what's great is to that point there on that. How do you verify a real influencer? Our friend Anthony Lee posted something brilliant, which is go look at their previous promotions and then go look and see if it impacted the BSR on Amazon. And you can look at the Helium 10 or the Keepa chart, and you'll see a dip in the BSR that coincides with the promotion if there was an impact. So you're not paying for nothing, and what type of impact you can expect when they post a promotion for you.
And the other thing is, when making these deals with influencers, I wouldn't make it a one post deal or a one story deal. Even like a story is 15 seconds. People don't even have enough time to think about it, right? I would want a minimum of like 45 seconds, like 3 stories to talk about it, share something, whatever, to get people to react. And also, I wouldn't make it a one post deal. I would make it a organically try to show this in your life 3 or 4 times over the next month, right? Because people need to see something over and over. And the more organic, so speaking of which, Organic Olivia, I saw her promote a product recently, and we're now working with this brand, right? And she didn't even she just tagged the brand, but she didn't post a link or anything else, right? And I was wondering, I think they're paying her, but I'm not sure, right? That's the kind of stuff you want, right? Because I wasn't, and then I spoke to the brand and they are paying her, right? But she did it in such a good way of showing kind of the product in a non-promotional way, hey, I really like this, tagging it, whatever, where I wasn't sure if they're paying them. That's how you know, the more organic it looks, the more influence it's going to have over somebody versus looking like it's sponsored, right? So and again, I wouldn't make just a one-time thing. You really want this to be part of that influence. You want to try to turn that influencer into more of a brand ambassador. And then if you have somebody it's working really well and they do make an impact, then you can, and they have a following, you can try to make them a recruiter of other influencers, and actually getting paid an override if they can bring in other influencers. If this person has 100,000 followers in their niche or 200,000 followers, they're going to get a better response rate when they DM somebody else that has 50,000 followers than you might on bring them into the brand. And you can turn them into sort of your brand ambassador who also gets paid by bringing other influencers in and kind of almost developing a network marketing type upline distribution where they get paid on other influencers that they bring in. So there's a lot of strategies you can, put in place, but I wouldn't expect one post to blow up your business. It's not how things work. You need to do a lot and have consistency, and it's part of building a brand, not a immediate ROAS type of, it's like a Nike commercial, right? They don't just put one Nike commercial and expect Nike sales to blow up the next day. Nike consistently puts up ads to build a brand. And I think that's how you should really view, building up a following.
This content is brought to you by AccrueMe, the business-friendly funding solution for Amazon sellers. If you're a profitable Amazon seller looking for capital to grow your profits, click the link around this video or visit AccrueMe.com for a no-risk funding estimate in less than 3 minutes.
That's good. Yeah, we got a few questions coming in, so let's try to get some of these answered real quick. I got a person asking about if anybody has tried or used the Amazon attribution beta. Is anybody familiar with that one?
Yeah. If you're running outside traffic, it's a good way. It's a good way to measure and see the results that you're getting.
All right, perfect. And then how do you know that you already maximize conventional traffic? How do you know that you already maximize conventional traffic? Not sure what they're asking.
So there's this. I'll add that. Well, first of all, maximizing conventional traffic, on Amazon traffic, Amazon has started to put out more and more reporting that really shows, especially on the ad side, that really shows you versus your peers in terms of where you are. So, for example, there's a search term impression report, both on sponsored products now and sponsored brands, that shows you for a particular keyword where you are, if you're number 1, number 5, number 15, in terms of getting impressions around that particular keyword. It'll also show you your ACoS there. So you may be number 5 and you're at a 40% ACoS, and that's your limit. So you may not want to push it higher, but there may be other keywords where you're number 7 and you have a 20% ACoS, and you're just not at the top, and you can give you indication on where you can push further. But I would kind of comparing yourself to your peers in terms of review count, pricing, where you are in revenue compared to them, things like impressions. Are you taking advantage of all the advertising opportunities, sponsored brands, sponsored display, storefront, A+ content, posts, all these things on Amazon? Are you already taking advantage of? And give yourself a scorecard. Will give you kind of a good indication if you're fully maximizing and how well you're doing things, right? Maybe you're running a video ad today, and it's a video ad that's like a slideshow, very low budget thing, right? Maybe you take that video ad up to a pro video that you create to see if that takes you up a notch in terms of, conversions, engagement. So, I think you really want to maximize what you're doing on Amazon. There's a lot of data now that will show you how well you're doing that.
That's good. Brandon, a question came in for you. They were talking about, I'll just kind of summarize, it was a little bit long. They're talking about once you use ads to drive a listing up to the top area, do you basically stop running that at some point, or do you always keep running it, or back down on it? Kind of talk about that a little bit when you've got your product up there and used ads to push it to the top. Did we lose Brandon?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, there you
go. It's very difficult to see if it's muted or not. It's the same blue. So
somebody's not a fan of Webinar Jam.
Not a big fan of Webinar Jam. This is like, where can I leave a 1-star review? So
we'll push through.
Yeah. So when we rank organically pretty quickly, the purpose of the ads at that point is to maximize profit, with the understanding that if our organic ranks fall, then we're going to lose organic sales and profit in the long run. So we're pushing PPC ads as far as we can, to as long as it's maintaining organic rank for as many keywords as possible. And then we're testing backing down the ads to maximize profit, so that we're spending less on ads as a percentage of overall sales. And only will continue to do that as long as we can maintain organic ranks while doing that. Now, if we're pushing profitable ads, then we'll try to pump the listing for maximum profit. But it's always in terms of organic rank and profit for us, whether we continue to push ads or not.
Perfect. And Stephen, I had one actually come in for you, and I know you and I have talked about this a bit. They're talking about simply pushing Google ad traffic to Amazon listings to increase rank. What do you got on that?
Yes, but you have to be careful as to how you're doing that, because the things that you can get found for with Google search may not actually relate to what you're trying to rank for on Amazon. Let's say there's a certain keyword that you really want to get more rank for on Amazon, but if you're found, say Google search ads via another phrase or something like that, it's only going to have so much spillover. Now, the good news is with Google ads, as opposed to Facebook ads, like we've talked about before, it's intent-based advertising the same way your PPC is on Amazon. That's why I talked about Google shopping ads before, because it shows a product. And if you really think about it, Amazon is not a content platform. It's a product-only platform. People know that. And it functions like Google, but people expect products. That's why rank is so important. Just like Google, if you're going to rank and you get to the top of Google, you're going to get way more traffic. That's kind of the goal. As far as seeing things and using, some version of a two-step URL or something like that, I think that we all know that there's more than just driving clicks through the listing, because you can get some pretty heavy click traffic through Google search ads. But if you're not converting on the listing from those people, because you don't have high intent phrases that are, people are finding those ads for, you're actually probably going to tank your listing there, because your conversion rates on the listing itself, yikes. So when I run Google search ads straight to Amazon, I make sure that I use longer tail phrases that are going to be much, much higher intent. Maybe they don't have as much volume, but I know that they're probably going to convert higher, because the people that are going to click on those are both problem aware and product seeking. They're further along in the buyer's journey, so they're more likely to pick up a product if I allow them to click through there. Does that make more sense?
Yeah, if they have a follow-up, they can hit us up. Norm, I have one that came in for you, and I'm going to try to paraphrase a little bit. If it sounds like if they're getting started in PPC or influencers, like they have a budget, they're trying to basically ask, like, what percentage of my budget should I be using for PPC versus influencers if they haven't done either of those areas, so to speak? I think that's kind of what they're asking.
That's tough. It's like asking how long is a piece of string. It depends on a lot of different things. It depends on your search volume. Sorry, but
it's true.
On, price point, your competitiveness of the product. I would always have some form of PPC going, always at the start. And with influencer marketing, you can do some very minor influencer marketing. You can just go over to either the paid platforms or try to find somebody that's going to help you out. Liran was talking about this person that contacted them. They're out there. And especially, just a little tip, go to TikTok. TikTok, people haven't caught on to the big dollars yet. You can have somebody with 1 million followers and they're going to charge you next to nothing to be your influencer. And if you go and you check that person or another person out over on Instagram that has 250,000 followers, you're going to be paying through the nose. One other thing that I think is incredible that you don't do at the beginning, but you do later on, and if you want external traffic, is public relations. If you're not going after earned media and you're a brand that's doing 40, 50, $100,000 a month, you're missing out on, this is just industry stats, 50 to 100% ROI. 150 to 100% ROI.
Wow.
People don't talk about earned media, but one placement. So we've had some of our product on Rachel Ray, Wendy Williams, Good Morning America, all sorts of different magazines. It's super easy to do. There's tons of public relations people out there, or PR people. You can find them anywhere, good ones. Make sure they're in your niche. But that is an area that I hardly know any higher end, like I said, 50, 100,000, $250,000 a month people working with.
Yeah. A quick question came up. I'm going to answer this real quick. Benji was asking basically, I'm sorry, it just went away. If he's basically selling products that are other people's brands, like, not to use the Nike example, if he had Nike shoes and he was selling on Amazon, he was asking about basically spending money on advertising. Why would you spend money on advertising? You don't own the listing. I mean, that's, unless, what do you think, Liran?
We do work. I would say 90% plus of our ad clients are brand owners, but we do work with a few that do the wholesale model. I'll tell you when it makes sense. One, sometimes you get an exclusive relationship, and you kind of like own the listing. You don't necessarily care as much about growing sort of the brand over the next 5 years and selling it, but if you can run ads and it's profitable and you're driving more sales, then then that's good. And sometimes we do work with people that are also sharing the buy box. Again, they're trying to show the brand more value and try to get maybe more products from them, more accounts, and not just splitting the sales between another seller, but offering them value by saying, hey, we're going to invest X amount a month into running ads for you, which is a reason why you should give us the account. And over time, try to get that exclusivity because they're adding more value to the brand by not just taking advantage of the, again, splitting organic traffic that's already there between 5 sellers, but actually driving more new customers to the brand. Again, most of the time, people that are doing wholesale will do it. They're not going to think about it the same way as a private label seller that is willing to just like break even on the ads because they're getting more sales, more reviews, more organic rank. They're going to do it because their margin is 20% and they'll run a 10% ACoS and just make more money by running ads. But again, you have a lot more upside to running ads. One of the downsides when you're sharing the buy box to run ads is that you could be running an ad, somebody sees it, clicks, they add to cart, or they come back later, and then later you're not in the buy box and another seller is there and you essentially pay to drive a sale to them. So there's a lot of downsides too in terms of, running ads when you're wholesale, much more power when it is your own brand.
Yeah, it's good info. Liran, I want a quick follow-up question to what you asked earlier. So I ran my business for 20 years, e-commerce. It was strictly based on giving free content, which drove people back to my website, which you were talking about earlier. Do you think that the person that you were talking about, I forgot her name, but did the supplements, do you think that maybe she started off not necessarily having her own brand? She was just more, created a group, created a following prior to going, hey, now I got enough people, maybe I should do my own brand?
It very well could be. And honestly, she puts out a tremendous amount of content that is, during COVID, she was talking about like, you should be taking zinc and quercetin and like showing all this stuff, right? And explaining the things behind it, which, okay, makes me want beforehand, maybe I'm not educated on why I should be taking zinc for my immunity. But after watching her video, when she explains the science, how it works, why I should be taking it, I trust her. And as a result, I end up buying her product instead of somebody else's, even though it's more money, right? And you're building that trust because she has the knowledge and you trust that she's, putting the right thought and ingredients and all that stuff when it comes to like supplements. So then she started a podcast and became, had, hundreds of thousands of downloads as a result. She puts out a tremendous amount of content and is very real in what she shows. Both her parents had COVID. She was putting up stories around, how she was calling the hospital and like trying to force them in terms of what to give her parents in terms of supplements and things like that. And just very real, showing her life where you want to follow that. It's drama. It's interesting. And I think all that makes you more likable, relatable, vulnerable. All that is positive when you're trying to get a following. And yeah, definitely is, if I just saw this product on a Shopify store or Facebook ad with a faceless person or on Amazon, I probably wouldn't have any interest in buying this unless I knew sort of some of the behind the scenes on the product or why it was created, etc. Yeah, definitely. I think that, and that's the opportunity to also go and partner with influencers who put out a tremendous amount of content. So I know right now we're about to work with somebody who is launching an energy drink, and one of the partners is a YouTuber with like 8 million subscribers. And so like going and partnering, like thinking about you knowing everything it takes to source a product, create a product, launch a product, and going to find people that are influencers that already have the content and audience in that niche, I think is one of the most amazing opportunities today to go partner with somebody, because you can skyrocket sales. And maybe one, it wasn't even on the radar, or like I talk to influencers a lot who are like, hey, like I'd love to create a product on Amazon and I'd love to do this, but like they don't have the know-how. They know how to do what they're doing.
Well, that's not anything new. I mean, look at what Vitamin Water did with 50 Cent.
Yeah.
I mean, you just give a percentage of the brand to somebody that becomes your brand ambassador, and make sure that every single time you do a YouTube video, you lead with drinking your drink, and like that's it, right? Like, and you don't need to give them a large percentage for the ownership because you're doing the heavy lifting in the back end.
Yeah, that's true. And Brandon, there's actually a question that came in for you. So just real quick, everybody, talking about YouTube. So one quick tip on YouTube, because actually I did YouTube and have done YouTube for many years. If you see somebody has hundreds of thousands of followers and they post a video and it only gets a couple hundred views, fake. I would start questioning those followers. So, real quick,
look at Mr. Beast. He was just I don't know a lot about this guy, but he was just on a Clubhouse chat this week. The guy has 55 million subscribers on YouTube. He launched 300 burger joints in one day across the country, and that was all from a YouTube audience, right? A physical food business, totally like everything you could do based off a following. I think like attention is the new currency in a sense, right? And like if you can partner and find ways to capture attention, then you can print money in a sense.
Yeah, I can add something to that for influencers when Brandon finishes answering his next question.
Yeah, so we'll go to Brandon, then over to Stephen. So Brandon, are you willing to make changes to your title based on a 70-30 outcome on a 2-year-old product? Oops. Did you hit the mute? Brandon, we can't hear you. One more time.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
It's the same blue. So, all right. So I don't know what they mean by 70-30 outcome.
I think they were doing A/B testing, like split testing on their titles, and it was like a 70-30 outcome.
So when I'm constructing my listing, I'm basing it 100% based on the relevant keywords with the most search volume, and the ones that I think are going to drive the most sales. And I'm doing that with an exact format because that gives you the most ranking credit, followed by plural, followed by phrase, followed by broad. So we're breaking down keywords into roots. We're understanding which ones to represent more, and then we're trying to represent them with the most search volume based on exact format. And so we have an entire strategy with regards to the way we break down how we construct our listings for maximum ranking juice.
Perfect.
So yes, the short answer is yes, change your listing and make it the most efficient possible.
This content is brought to you by AccrueMe, the business-friendly funding solution for Amazon sellers. If you're a profitable Amazon seller looking for capital to grow your profits, click the link around this video or visit AccrueMe.com for a no-risk funding estimate in less than 3 minutes.
Great. That's excellent. And so, Stephen, actually a question came in that I know directed at you.
Okay.
Do you think Amazon could be a channel to boost local business producers if the right content is established in other social networks? So I think also talk a little bit about using local advertising, because I know you definitely have done that.
Local advertising is a completely different beast.
I understand.
Because if you're in a local market and you want sustained scalability, one of the things you really, really have to hammer down on is customer retention. Mm-hmm. Now, as far as is having your products on Amazon and moving to your local market, if that's something that you do, that's fine. If you have a good product moving locally, I would absolutely overproduce and push that to Amazon to increase your reach. That's an easy win there. Absolutely easy win. But if you can't push it locally and you can't take advantage of local advertising, say localized Facebook ads or Google search ads and all of that kind of thing, and get people in person, you may not have a winner or a message that where you could put it on an Amazon listing and really get some major spillover like we've talked about, with all the other networks. So that's kind of where I would go is I'd say, okay, if I have holes in my bucket, I don't need another bucket with holes in it where I'm going to try to pour more money and water into it.
Yeah, I love that.
Fix the first bucket first.
So Steven's exactly right, Steven. And I love what you're saying there. To drive you can target hundreds of millions of people on Amazon. You don't know where they live, but you should be having the ability to drive local traffic or have local people coming into your business. And that's super effective and impactful to drive a little bit of traffic to Amazon to help with your ranking. The other way is much better for you.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So we're down to our last couple of minutes here. Norm, I meant to get you in there more. Sorry, Norm. So any last things you want to throw in there, Norm, or we can pass it off to everybody else? Go ahead.
Just on the last point, working with press releases, high quality, well-written press releases, and you put Toronto, ON at the end, you can geo-target, and you can, if at least the population has to be under 320 some odd thousand people, but you can rank almost instantly overnight for a ton of keywords. Geo-targeting is not done a lot, but if you're working with Amazon or if you're working with Shopify and you know where your audience is, or if you're having an event, try doing that with a press release and you'll be amazed.
To add to Norm's point right there, if you have an outside website and Google Analytics is attached to that, you can go into Google Analytics and see the regions and the cities that your traffic is converting more, and you can set up multiple press releases in those cities that are converting higher and push Amazon rank like he was just talking about. But you have to have Google Analytics on your website and understand how to read a simple dashboard on the back end of that. And that's not something a lot of people do. The other thing you can do with that, like we've talked about a little bit before, all of us with conversion rate optimization, is if you see that there are regions of the country or cities within the country that just have next to no conversion rate. Let's say out in San Diego, you're converting at like 12%, and somewhere like Nebraska, you're converting at like 1%. Exclude Nebraska as a custom audience in your advertising. Because what's going to happen?
So I actually, real quick, I messed up. We actually have 30 more minutes, so I actually screwed up. I think I left extra room because I knew I could see the questions are coming in. Like
Brandon is thrilled. Brandon is thrilled about that.
Right, I know. We're gonna all buy Brandon stock in Webinar Jam for sure, right? So.
I'm gonna go short the stock immediately after this call.
Let's go to Wall Street.
Right. So my apology, everybody. Keep those questions coming in. There's quite a few of them, so we'll just actually somebody even specifically said, "Hey, Brandon, have a question." So what's the best way to rank products on Amazon consistently besides PPC?
I mean, so that's obviously a lot of the secret sauce, right? But you just need to understand Amazon's algorithm and what they value. They value click-through rate, conversion rate. They value the relevancy score, and then they value the overall sales revenue through specific keywords. Now, knowing how keywords are rated based on the match type of the search that happened before they got there and how you built your listing, there's two different events that are happening. So you just have to understand Amazon's algorithm. You have to drive the right amount of clicks, the right amount of conversion, the right amount of add to carts, and you have to understand what's needed for each keyword that you want to rank for and which group of keywords, which routes and broad search volume you want to rank for. And so we can do that relatively quickly. Within 5 days, you can usually rank on the first top 15 for hundreds of keywords.
That's great. So another question came in, and Brandon, I mean, you're welcome to answer this or not, or throw it to somebody else. It says, would you please suggest a format for keyword phrases?
So obviously with keyword phrases, like exact phrase format gives you the most juice and the most ranking juice. So you want to just, when we write titles, we're trying to write exact formats, exact phrases, as much as possible. So if you're trying to mix and match and throw too many words in between to try to get as many different broad matches, just know that you're hurting yourself, because you're getting about 30% of the ranking juice instead of 100%. And Amazon's going to give you those other match types at that percentage anyway. So you might as well do your best to rank for the most efficient, or the keywords with the most search volume.
All right, and Stephen, we had somebody actually follow up to a question that you or what you were saying. It says, Stephen, I read the breakthrough advertising as you told. What should a newbie do at first for off Amazon traffic?
Okay, so let me clarify. Breakthrough Advertising is a book that I recommend a lot of people read. It's by a guy named Eugene Schwartz. It's, if you look on Amazon, it's going to be expensive. If you need to find out where to find a copy of that book, you let me know.
Go after the summit though. Stay on with us.
Yeah, I will. So what I would recommend a newbie do first for off Amazon traffic. Number one, if you want to tip your toe into off Amazon traffic, once you're profitable on Amazon and you have that figured out, like all these other gentlemen are talking about,
Stephen, is the question flawed? Should a newbie look at off Amazon traffic?
Should a newbie?
Did I miss it? Go ahead.
I'm saying, like, to clarify the question, should a newbie in the first place look to off Amazon traffic?
No.
They should just get down the process first, right?
Yeah. So here's what you have to understand. In any business, there are 5 major areas that you have to deal with if you want to sustain your business. You have to attract people, you have to convert people, you have to have a good deliverable, you have to have retention, you have to understand cash flow. The good thing about Amazon is it makes it systematic for anybody to be able to jump on and just walks you through the steps. And it's pretty easy to learn to understand on platform advertising. Your listing is only going to be one format. We know we have a title. They give you X amount of characters. Here's your bullets. We need the pictures to look like this. And it walks you through setting it up. When you go off of Amazon, it's like going from a simple car that you can understand how to drive to a full out race car on the track. There's a lot more buttons. There's a lot more things that you can do, but there's a lot more to keep track of and a lot more to learn. And so as a newbie, no, you don't want off Amazon traffic, because as a newbie, I promise you 90% of your attention is how can I get more people to my listings? And like all the gentlemen said, you probably haven't optimized your listing. Think about that. If you can take your listing and let's say it's converting at 10% and you can get it to convert at 15%, which is pretty common on Amazon, you've added more than 50% profitability to the traffic you're already driving. And that's something that most people miss is conversion rate optimization. I don't care how many people you get there. Spend time really understanding the phrases that people are using. Look up something called niche vocabulary themes. As far as like people do search engine optimization, that will help you say, okay, here's my Amazon keywords that I'm wanting to rank for. Here's some phrases that people are using when they're looking for a product. Maybe I can add that to my bullets to help people understand why my features are beneficial. It's going to boost your conversion rate. And that way you're not spending as much money trying to learn something. You're making more money because you boosted your conversion rate. And once you tap out all these little dots on Amazon, it's crazy. Now, I'm known as the off Amazon traffic and marketing guy, but I came into Amazon backwards, way backwards. I was doing e-commerce and marketing and everything else for 12 years before I even came to the Amazon platform. So that's just, I talk about that because it's like a fish in water. It's just what I do. And I make it sound like, oh, you should do this. No, don't do that. Liran is right. Is as a newbie, just like Brandon was talking about, get everything right on Amazon first if that's where you started. Absolutely. Then, once you're profitable, once you get things moving, here's where I would go first. Start a Shopify store. Just after you're profitable and you get things moving, start a Shopify store. Don't go heavy on it. and then start with Google search and Google shopping ads, because it is the most like Amazon PPC. Start there.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
that's where I would start.
Sometimes as entrepreneurs, we have this thing that as we grow, we need to do a lot of different things. And sometimes just like as you grow on Amazon, you just need to launch more products on Amazon, right? Like you could just also just do more of the same stuff that got you to where you are instead of taking a totally different path.
To capitalize on that, Liran,
yep.
I'm a big fan of what you're saying right there. I completely agree. Scale horizontally within the same platform as much as you can before you add another arm to the octopus. That's, I mean, absolutely.
And some of the optimization that you could be doing, even outside of your title and your images and stuff, you can look at your packaging, right? Like, can you improve your packaging? Can you improve your product? Can you like iterate? Like, you should be iterating on a product, I think, over time based on feedback that you're getting from reviews, from your insert funnels, from what customers are telling you. You could further optimize and make improvements just based off that. To Steven's point, if you have a 10% conversion in some categories, it's actually very low, and that 20 to 30% is, again, depending on your product price point, is also very achievable for Amazon. And if you're not there, then there could be additional things you could do to try and get there.
This content is brought to you by AccrueMe, the business-friendly funding solution for Amazon sellers. If you are a profitable Amazon seller looking for capital to grow your profits, click the link around this video or visit AccrueMe.com for a no-risk funding estimate in less than 3 minutes.
Yeah, and I mean, Stephen, great point. And definitely, I mean, I came from that same world. I didn't start on Amazon, so I'm definitely there with you. Hey, Norm, when you get a second, turn your mic on. I have a question that did come in. I had somebody asking about dealing with or selling Amazon Handmade. Have you dealt with selling Amazon Handmade products? And I think you were asking about some tips on it.
Yeah, I have not dealt a lot with that, but it's funny because one of the things I was just talking to one of my partners today about was Amazon Handmade and how to get into that a bit more. So I don't know a lot about it.
I think what they're trying to get at is, with handmade stuff, and Liran said it also, is I think it's one of those things that you could build up a following, right? If you're making handmade items, I'd be doing videos about how I made it, like information, background of, how I created this item or sewed it, or, depending what it is. I'll tell you, handmade does really well. I was telling Liran just Tuesday, I had him on the podcast. My daughter just kicked off her Etsy store, her and a friend of hers. They had 10 sales first day. 24 hours, 10 sales. They're doing handmade jewelry. And they had another 2 or 3 sales the next day. I mean, they're doing really well. I think handmade can do great. And I mean, they started on Etsy, but don't worry. We're talking Shopify store next. So.
And chances are, if you are handmade, probably a great place to start is Etsy, because it's more of where that customer might be going to than the Amazon customer.
Yeah, absolutely. Question did come in for Liran. I'm not sure if I asked this one yet, but after maximizing Amazon traffic, what is the next best external traffic sources?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's when you get into working with, influencers or Google Ads with attribution, and seeing what's working for you outside. It's not, I wouldn't say it's my biggest area of expertise. I'm a lot more knowledgeable on internal PPC traffic. But that's when I would look to all the things that have been spoken about here to drive it. Also, I would look to drive a lot of my external traffic to my Shopify store, but get the overspill, because to my Shopify store I can retarget that customer. There's a lot of things I can do with that, and I want to own the customer data. But you're going to get that spillover of people that do come to Amazon. I think you can capitalize with it on Amazon. But things that are more search-based, like Google, I see as kind of like something you should test for driving Google with Amazon attribution to see if you can get at least a break-even, out of those ads. Also, if you don't have a Shopify store, a good place to start with sort of Google is like people searching your brand name. For example, on Google, driving it to Amazon, or kind of long tail keywords where you can add shopping behavior type words to those searches on Google, like barbecue gloves, Amazon. So buy, shop, purchase, best, things like that are good kind of words to add on to be more targeted on those Google searches.
Yeah, and then Norm, I think you kind of covered this, but Chris was asking about any proven ways to get your Amazon listing on the first page of Google for your relevant keywords.
Well, it's interesting. Again, going back to really great content. So this is great. This is crazy right now. Create some content. If you want, create a little Google video or YouTube video, optimize that, embed it into your content. It's got to be great content.
I'm not able to hear Norm.
I can.
You
Because
can't.
he gave a 1-star review to Webinar Jam.
It's amazing. He's sitting there talking, and I can hear all of you. I can't hear him at all.
Brandon's been blocked by Webinar Jam.
I feel like I'm
already.
punked. I'm being punked by Webinar Jam right now.
Shadow ban.
Sorry, go ahead, Norm.
I have to watch the replay because Norm always drops amazing nuggets.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brandon. But yeah, so go back to your content, make 1,500 to 2,500 word blog articles. Revisit your blog article. It could be either every month or every quarter. Add 250 words. It'll keep it fresh. But one of the tricks to get extra traffic is to go over to YouTube, create it could be just a talking head video, embed it. And then this is the trick. Create a press release. Create a press release that has all your social media. It embeds that YouTube video. It embeds, it's more of an authority. Okay. So you're going to have all those authority links. Drive that back to Amazon, to your product page. Take your content that you've been writing and drive that back to your content page. And if you have Google My Business, or if you just do this over time, Google will automatically start to rank your page on Amazon. You'll start to see this all the time. I mean, it's so bloody easy.
Yep. Just real quick, Stephen, somebody asked about the name of that book again that you had suggested.
Yeah, the book is called Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz, Schwartz. And I posted a link in the chat. If you go to breakthroughadvertisingbook.com, that's where you can actually get a new copy from the guy that owns the copyright to it, and he's the publisher. If not, you're going to be looking probably around $500 for a used copy on Amazon.
There you go. And another person was asking, is there a resource that you could suggest to optimize our listings? That's pretty wide open. There's a lot out there to help with that. So we got more questions coming. Brandon it looks like Brandon just dropped off.
Hey, Rob.
He's so happy. Go ahead.
I've got just one old school. Anybody who's been in Amazon, since ASM1 will probably be doing this, but it sounds really boring. These guys are going to fall off their chairs yawning. But it's inserts. And the way that there's all sorts of different ways that you can handle inserts, right? But one way that we do it, we just, in our own little group, we call it Circle of Life. So you start off with an insert. It could be any form of QR code. Make sure it's dynamic so you can switch it up anytime. But you bring that QR code, you ask somebody, and it's going to be either for not a PDF file, it's for something actually good. So it'll be like if you have shampoo, here's a bottle of conditioner. If it's a soap scent like Dead Sea Mud soap, you might have vanilla cherry. That's not available on Amazon. So you get the person to go from there over to your site. You get their email address. Now that they have, and it could be, this is really cool, it could be free with shipping. So you could actually break even or make money on it. But if you just provide the service or provide the product, something unique, when they go to the cash out, to the checkout, this is the final phase. Well, what pops up is a coupon going back to Amazon saying, here's 15% off or 10% off your next order. So now you've going from your product over to your page, doing something that's going to get their email, probably costing you nothing, and then sending them back to buy product.
Excellent. Excellent. And then there's lots of questions coming in for Brandon. He just loves this. So Brandon, does Amazon give exact match ranking juice to 2 keywords in one? I think it meant to put example, red kitchen rack and kitchen rack.
Yeah, so when you make a sale, there's 2 events that happen. The one is the keyword that you made the sale through is analyzed versus your listing, and then how you built your listing is then also analyzed. So on the event where the way you build and optimize your listing, then they will oftentimes break that down into multiple exact forms because you have it written in exact forms. But if you do that for too many keywords, like 4 keywords in a row, or more than 4 words in a row, and you have several phrases mashed together, like, red kitchen knife, holder, and red kitchen knife and kitchen knife holder, like trying to get credit for all of those, you're not. Like, Amazon just misses sometimes. So you have to be careful when you try to mash too much together, and you'll probably need to make sure you prioritize the exact phrase that you want to get the most credit for, and then repeat the other phrase later in your listing where you get a little bit less credit, but at least make sure that it's represented so you're not missing the credit at all.
Perfect. Let's see. Somebody's asking about wholesale. How can you improve your packaging?
Yeah,
as a wholesaler, how they improve their packaging.
I actually typed an answer to that because I love the thought of that. I think that if you're a good private label seller, you are a great wholesaler and partner for these brands that don't know what they're doing on Amazon, because a lot of times you'll find that these major brands are just not good at Amazon, and you have the opportunity to come in and offer a lot of value because you know how to optimize the listings, you know how to rank the listings, you know how to run advertising and increase sales and profitability and exposure for those brands. So as far as packaging goes, that's a major one because a lot of times they have this bulky, oversized retail packaging that is extremely inefficient for e-commerce. So what you can offer to do is say, hey, I want to be an exclusive for your listing, or for at least a listing on Amazon with custom e-commerce packaging or custom Amazon packaging that you will take the time to design. Minimum order quantity 5,000. I'll even pick it up in China from you and put it on my own container and send it into my warehouse or straight to Amazon for you. And then that way your shipping is more efficient. You're saving money there. Your cost is lower and your fulfillment fees are lower. So you're building in all these advantages that you have over other people trying to sell this product on Amazon. And you're going to do it in a much more efficient way and rank the listing better and generate more sales for them. So they're going to love you if you offer all of that. And eventually you could work your way into a more exclusive deal that way.
Yeah, I think to Brendan's point, if you're thinking about changing the packaging on a wholesale product, just, develop your own product, and to be honest, a lot of people who do wholesale will do wholesale on a bunch of products. They have a lot of data. They have advertising data on those products. They have conversion rate data, and then we'll take some of those and develop a private label competitor of their own against those wholesale products. So don't think about think about how you can develop your own product.
Yeah, that's a good one. Sorry, I'm trying to get through all these questions. So there's another question.
Or you can create just on top of that, or you can create your own private label bundle using the wholesale product with your private label product. So you can just create an accessory that's private label, and now you've got your own packaging and you've got your own listing.
So Matthew was asking, any success stories on driving Facebook traffic to an Amazon listing? We recently applied this strategy and are measuring results with Amazon attribution. Who wants to grab that one? Stephen,
what's the question?
They were asking about any success stories that we know of people driving Facebook traffic to an Amazon listing. They recently applied this strategy and are measuring results with Amazon attribution.
I'm going to say something out front.
Go ahead.
I imagine that we're going to get into the Facebook and Messenger and all that kind of thing, and that can be an effective strategy. I've seen lots of people with success with that. Let's just drop this right here. You cannot run purchase conversion ads to the Amazon platform from Facebook. You can't. And if you really want to go deep and you really want to scale and you want to look at some of the forums with people that are really heavy into Facebook ads, especially like direct marketing kind of stuff like you're talking about, you have to be able to run purchase conversion ads. You cannot do that because you cannot put a purchase conversion pixel on your Amazon listing. You can't optimize the listings at all. As far as
Steven, are you saying you can't train the pixel, the Facebook pixel, to find more of those people that convert?
I'm saying what with purchase conversion ads, let's say there's a big pool of people, right? You got a big lake. There are people that there are fish that are going to bite for engagement ads. There are fish that are going to bite for traffic ads. Those aren't as high quality. You're not going to pay as much for those because Facebook has, just like Amazon, hundreds of data points on every user, right? If you want people to buy, you run purchase conversion ads. Website purchase conversion ads. That's just where you are, even on dead cold traffic. And Facebook will help you find that little pocket of fish, let's say, that are most likely to buy something from an advertisement. And that's what you want to optimize for. Those are the ads you want to run. And that's the kind of event you want to run because that's what you're looking for. You cannot do that on the Amazon platform. And if you want people to actually buy, I've not seen a way that personally where I can add a Facebook pixel to Amazon and have the purchase conversion event show up and attribute properly, even with Zon Tracker, back to the Facebook ads dashboard where I can optimize the ads and scale up properly. I've not seen it.
All right.
As a direct thing. So
go ahead. So Norm, we had one come in for you, and this is kind of an interesting one. They said, Norm, how would you leverage press releases for a boring product?
I wouldn't. Well, I guess what you could have to do, this is one way of doing it. You could go over to BuzzSumo. You could check into BuzzSumo, type in a keyword, or you could do this on Google, but see what other people are writing about your boring product. There's lots of things that you could talk about with boring products. You can take a plastic shoe stretcher and talk about foot health. You can take a toe wart remover and talk about the advantages of healthy nails. So you could cite research and you could write that information. So the press release would be the newsworthy one, 10 reasons, or not 10 reasons, but I say this one all the time, bully sticks what is it? Organic bully sticks are a digestive or help healthy elderly dogs with digestion, something like that. And then you have the 10 reasons why on the content side. So you do your press release.
Nope. I think Norm's
you tie that into your content, which you could make it a lot more.
I think another interesting area that I haven't fully sort of explored, but it'd be interesting to hear from any of you guys if you've done anything with this or have an opinion on it. Is what about like native content ads, like using like Taboola or these other platforms that allow you to have these ads that are that are targeting like a sort of newsworthy type title that goes to a page that talks about a product. Have you done anything with that? I'd be interested to hear.
So you're talking about just running ads like to a magazine or
like Outbrain or these platforms that allow you to, Stephen, I think you're muted, but these platforms that allow you to run basically content and have that content, featured as a sponsored ad on like CNN or whatever. And it's like a piece of content that's sponsored content.
That it's actually pretty cool if you use the right distribution network. So like press releases, they're distributed. You've got different networks that it'll go out on. You're going to pay for higher quality distribution networks. A lot of people don't realize it, but you could use similar distribution networks to pump out your blog content, and it'll just bring you back some higher quality blog articles or links.
Sorry about that. Yeah, my audio went off. So another question came in, and we're just getting close to the end here, everybody. just about 4 more minutes, so this might be the last question. It's kind of a long one, but I have an exclusive with a brand that I'm selling their product, and it sells about $5,000 per month. It's a baby product, they said, on Amazon without me doing any marketing. If I wanted to test some marketing for that product, what is the best ROI to start?
So to clarify, are they not running any Amazon advertising at all?
They didn't say that. I think it sounds kind of like they're not, and they're looking on what's the best way to go from not running advertising.
I mean, to me, the highly optimized listing and then, some Amazon ads would be the lowest hanging fruit in terms of driving more sales on that product.
Yeah, that's good info. All right, so just real quick, everybody, we are going to wrap up this room.
I would also get brand registry if they don't have brand registry, because brand registry will unlock for them additional marketing opportunities for storefront, video ads, A+ content. Like, I would make sure that they have that from the brand.
Yeah, absolutely. So after the summit, everyone, I suggest you go take a look at the podcast. I've had all 4 of these gentlemen on in the last 4 weeks or so, and we talk about a lot of this content. And I know Stephen mentioned 5 different things, and I think we actually discussed those. Liran was just on Tuesday. The podcast will be out next week on Tuesday. Brandon and Norm were on a few weeks ago. We covered a lot of great content like this. So if there's any last questions, or we'll just kind of wrap it up here. Any last minute statements or things that you guys have to suggest?
No, I've got to jump. I've got another call.
Sure.
So I appreciate having me on.
Is it on Webinar Jam, Brandon?
My call is not, and I hope never again on Webinar Jam.
All right.
I hope that AccrueMe makes a change. No, but I appreciate AccrueMe. I appreciate this platform, though. Obviously, like, I'm learning just as much as the people watching, I can assure you, because I'm, the three other guests here, and Rob isn't so bad himself.
Thanks.
They always have amazing nuggets to drop and content, and we're always looking for extra strategies to try off of Amazon. So I appreciate you having me, Rob.
Yeah, and thank you, Brandon, for being on, and Liran and Stephen and Norm. I mean, appreciate it. All you guys, for doing the podcast, for being on here, dropping all these great knowledge bombs. Just real quick, anybody who's still listening, we got Chris McCabe coming up next. Chris got a great topic about how to prevent and deal with Amazon account suspension. So that's a huge topic, and he's got a great presentation on that. So be sure to hit that on the right-hand side, the offers. Click on that. It'll take you over to the next room.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Yeah,
thanks a lot.
guys.
Yeah.
Take care.